What's up guys, Start Standing here again, and firstly I've got to apologise for the lack of a video yesterday, but I was in hospital yesterday, so unfortunately I couldn't record a video. Now, today is another Airsoft Tactics and Training video. This one is taking a little bit of a detour from where I was going, because I realised I hadn't done it because the video I had for it corrupted itself. So I thought I'd uploaded this before, but I haven't, unfortunately. Now, as you can see again, I'm using this crappy little M4 because mine still isn't back from Scotland and it's been almost 5 weeks now, so they're useless and I'm going to complain a lot. Anyway, we won't let that get in the way of the video. Now, in this video I'm going through if I could speak, I'm going to go through the high ready position, the low ready position and a pistol ready position. Now, for those of you who don't know what they are, they're positions you kind of wait in while you're waiting for contact, essentially. Now, we're going to go through them nice and briefly, and I'm going to point out why I like certain ones over certain others, because I've got a preference myself, I'm sure everyone else does, but they are all good. They all do work. Now we'll go through high ready first, which is if this is in your contact position, so you're actually shooting, whether your hands, you've got your big front grip or your grip at the back. I've just slid this all the way back. The way to the back, so it was a bit in the way before. On this it looks a bit weird. So if this is my contact position, my high ready would be this. The muzzle is up and out of the way so that it's not going to hit anyone walking past me. I can see straight ahead of me, I've got a good field of view, and I'm ready. Because as soon as I hear contact, I'm down and in position. So from the side, it's from this. When I hear contact, finger on the trigger and I'm ready. Finger off the trigger and high ready. From the opposite side, that is high ready, looking around, contact, and I'm on target straight away. Now, I personally only use high ready if I'm standing behind cover. So say I've got cover that's up to about my chest height, that's when I'll use the high ready position, because I can see what's going on, I've got my feet nice and wide position, so I can really use this position well if anything happens. If someone comes up from any direction, I've got a good base, I can rotate easily, and I can get the gun on nice and quickly. Now, the reason I don't like this position quite as much is it tires your arms out a bit, holding it up like this. If you're waiting for 5-10 minutes or something, waiting around like this isn't the easiest thing in the world. And in my opinion, it restricts your view, because all of that area there, I can't see because my gun's in the way. That's why I personally use the low ready much more. Now the low ready is, again, if this is on contact, low ready would be like that. Muzzle's down so that if it somehow accidentally fires, it's not going to hit anyone around me. Again, finger off the trigger, my hand's in the correct position so that if I hear contact, I'm up and in. Simple as that. Contact, up and in. Now sometimes I'll turn the weapon sideways, sometimes I'll just have it tilted down. The reason I turn it sideways is if I'm moving while in the low ready position, because when I'm moving I slide the stock slightly up above my shoulder and move like this, because I'm a much more compact kind of picture then. I don't make as much of a silhouette, which makes me a much smaller target. So then when I hear contact, it's up and out. For the regular low ready, I've got my barrel slightly down, so I'm up and into it as soon as I hear contact. Again, from both sides. In the low ready, finger off the trigger, contact, up and ready. Up and ready. Again, from the opposite side, if I hear contact, it's up and in. Up and ready. In is what I'm saying for finger in the trigger, up and ready, same thing, I just keep switching it out. So, the main advantage, as I did with the previous one, the main advantage I find of the low ready position is that it's much easier on your arms because it's a much more natural position. It's much easier to transition from movement to a low ready position. Whereas if I'm moving like this with my gun down, or even if I'm running like this, if I'm really sprinting and holding something, the high ready is probably easier then, but if I'm moving with two hands on my gun, it's probably easier to go into the low ready position and then up to contact. I do that as a step. If I've been running, even if I'm not in the low ready position to begin with, like this, if I've been running with my gun and then I hear contact, my first step is low ready, locate the target, and then up to contact. Because if I'm up to contact and focusing down my sights, you almost develop a tunnel vision, which means someone way over here could be the contacts, and I'm looking over here, you know, trying to scan carefully, and I could get whacked from the side. So it's all about keeping awareness around you. That's why a lot of the time, if you see guys in the low ready or the high ready, they'll be looking around. The low ready, you can look around much easier, I find, because the gun isn't in your way. Now, if you watch the Haley strategic videos, they teach you to go from low ready, contact, back to low ready, and check again. Always check the surroundings, because there could be a second contact, there could be something coming up on you that you haven't noticed. It could be, you know, anything. It could be a friendly coming up, and you don't want to go from contact. If you're already in the contact position when you look over, your natural reaction is to shoot it. You don't want to do that if it's a friendly. So you go from low ready to contact to low ready and check around again. Or the opposite is high ready to contact to high ready and check around again. Now, personally, I prefer the low ready because, as I said, I find it easier to transition through. I find it nicer on the hands. The only times I don't use it as much is, as I said, which is why I use the high ready, is if I'm behind cover. If I'm behind chest height cover, the gun would have to be here, so that would be very slow to bring it up and round. Although it is possible to do it, you know, you're putting in a lot of extra movement to bring the gun up above your cover, push it all the way out, which is, you know, anyone in all of this area has a risk of taking a round by accident, and then you've got to push it onto target and seat in, which I don't like. So that's why, if I've got high cover, anything higher than probably about my waist height, I'll go into the high ready position, because that's much better if you've got some kind of cover. Another reason to use the high ready position is if you're moving through a building and you're watching on, you're not the first man, you're the second man. I know I haven't been through this tactic yet in my videos. I do intend to at some point, but I need more people in for this. So I'll just have to quickly explain this. The second man doesn't cover directly in front of him, that's the first man. The second man covers off to slightly to the left, and the third covers over there. So if I'm the second man, I have my hand on the first man to tell him I'm there, and my gun in the high ready position so that I can see what's coming up over there. He's covering me in front, the man behind me is covering off to my left, and the guy behind him is covering R6. So I have my hand on him, my gun in the high ready, and I can see what's coming up in my area. Then as soon as something happens, I can just push my arm straight out. I'm in the high ready, or not, sorry, I'm in the contact position as soon as possible. Whereas if you're in the low ready there, it's much harder to hold your gun with one hand like that, and then, although it's probably as quick, it is a much bigger strain on your muscles and actually on the joints to hold your gun one-handed in that position than it is to rest it in your shoulder in that position. So that's the high and low ready positions for a rifle. I'm now going to cut in a second to the few different ready positions there are with a pistol. There's three I'm going to show you, and I'll say why I like each one of them and why I don't like each one of them. So I'll make that cut right about